how do you view the Holy Spirit? And are you still really referring to it as your highest self? Welcome back to one's journey of unwinding the mind and, of course, your daily microdose. Now tune in to the latest episode of One's Journey. Today, I want to talk about the Holy Spirit again. It's been almost a year since we have talked about what is the Holy Spirit. And as we know, the deeper we go in this journey along the path of unwinding the mind, how our perspective shifts and how our understanding shifts and how feeling it in our life shifts. So Holy Spirit. First of all, I want to say again that having the word Holy Spirit in my life and actively acknowledging it and utilizing it has been a journey. And I encourage you, if you've seen any of my early videos, not the one that I call the Holy Spirit, you will notice that I tend to use highest self a lot. But as the videos gradually progress, Holy Spirit is used more and more. And sometimes I say Holy Spirit or highest self, but less and less is it just highest self. And the reason why is because I was uncomfortable with it. I myself have many narratives that are tied to organized religion and church, and as many of you do, I'm sure as well. And so it's been a learning curve for me as well to, first of all, release the weight of those old narratives, and then to also see that there is no weight on this narrative either, that it just is. I just happen to use the word Holy Spirit. I was having a conversation with a client the other day about the Holy Spirit, and this client I've tended to use non-religious terms with them. That's what I guess we would categorize Jesus and Holy Spirit and God, because it's been coined with religion. And they're listening to the Disappearance of the Universe book, and he was talking about how he sees what the Holy Spirit is, and he really was able to grasp what it was right away, and it was so beautiful. So the Holy Spirit is like the all. It is the mind. It is the communication we are able to have with the mind will in this illusion. It is your highest self, right? But when we tend to say your highest self, it's still insinuating separation, because if I say my highest self, first of all, I'm owning it, right? Which would insinuate that my highest self is different than your highest self, is different than Patrick's highest self, when in fact, our highest self is the Holy Spirit. It is one. It is the mind. And the Holy Spirit is the mind's ability to communicate with us within this illusion. And we learn that outside of the illusion, the Holy Spirit does not need to exist, because it just is. We just are. So I really see the Holy Spirit as the ultimate guide that we have here. It's the voice within that is not the ego, right? Within we have two belief systems, the Holy Spirit or the ego's belief system. And the Holy Spirit is that of like what the mind is, which is unconditional love. That is the Holy Spirit. And then we have the ego, which we know what the ego is. So really the Holy Spirit is you, is me, is all of us. And I think as I've gone along this journey over the past year and digging deeper and understanding at a different level, not necessarily intellectually, but integrating, is I'm seeing the Holy Spirit as separate less and less. I'm seeing the Holy Spirit less as my highest self, right? When I used to see the Holy Spirit as my highest self, it was like an achievement, right? Highest self means my achievement. I remember I went to a business conference many years ago, and I think it was Tony Robbins was there. Or no, it was Ed Milet. And Ed Milet said, like, what if when you die, you get to meet the greatest version of yourself, your highest self, what your potential truly was? Do you want to see that you haven't made it, or do you want to see that you are there or surpassed it? We're so trained to see that that the ultimate version of ourselves is better than us, instead of realizing you already are. The more I listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit and the less I listen to the ego, the less the ego fights, and the more I'm able to hear the Holy Spirit without pushing the ego away. It just is. So I feel more that I am my highest self. I am the Holy Spirit than something I need to obtain. And it's not about listening to my highest self. It's about listening to me. It's not about listening to Holy Spirit. It's about listening to me. And so early on, I saw the Holy Spirit or my highest self as like this external entity that was my ultimate guide. And the more and more I'm realizing like I'm my own ultimate guide. I just forgot. And now I'm remembering that nothing is separate. Nothing is communicating to me. It just is me. That communication is within me. It is always communicating because it is me. That like, and this goes even deeper, like into God and Jesus. But Jesus essentially is the Holy Spirit. Because I'm the Holy Spirit. And you're the Holy Spirit. And Patrick's the Holy Spirit. Like, we are all the mind. And the Holy Spirit is just the communication device between the mind and our projection within this illusion. So if we remove that, then we are. We are all. So the Holy Spirit is just like, it just is. It just is the massive thing. And I don't know if the words I've been able to share are fully allowing you to understand. But truly, I guess, ultimately what I'm sharing with you is that this journey has been more about realizing that there is nothing separate from me, not even the word outside. Today I was having a conversation with another woman and she said, like, we use the words like the answers are within, and I still do, right? I use that language, or outside. But when you really start to experience it, you realize that those words can't even encompass it. So the Holy Spirit, there's not even words that can fully encompass the experience of the knowingness that this is not an outside voice, that this is not even an internal voice. It just is the voice. Like the voice of Oz, right? Not really. Like, don't listen to that. Not really the voice of Oz. I would say the voice of Oz is more like the ego, this big scary voice that then we find out it's this little guy that has no power and blah, blah, whatever. We're not going down that rabbit hole. But I hope this video has been helpful. I hope that this episode has really helped you to shift your perspective and maybe get you a little deeper understanding and a little deeper grappling with yourself of like, how do you view the Holy Spirit? And are you still really referring to it as your highest self? I'm not saying that has to change. I'm saying for me, I wanted to be able to say the Holy Spirit, but there was weight. And as my journey has gone over the year, the weight has lifted, and even just like the acknowledgement of it being separate has changed so drastically. Thank you so much, friend, for tuning in. Please share below on how this video has impacted you and what perception shift you have had. Remember, we are learning together. I learn from you, you learn from me, and you learn through teaching. So share, and giving is receiving. And if you are not a part of the Patreon, please go check out the Patreon channel. If you are a right-minded thinker, you get a live discussion monthly, which is kick-ass and so much fun. And just one of those, like, you will get off the call and your mind will be blown. I love mind-blowing things. Thank you for tuning in to your daily microdose. And as always, so much love. And remember, you are worth it. Bye-bye.